Welcome, Kelvin Dale here, revealing how the Irish had an impact on helping shape the United States. We go now to the migration story of how a political machine purged the unwanted people in Ireland, people exiled to America, not by choice, but by decree, and how they changed the future of a new nation. Let's get into it. In the 1600s and 1700s, Ireland was under English control. The rulers in London had a plan that was as cold as it was effective. They wanted to remove threats, punish dissent, and fill the colonies with cheap labor. For centuries, unrest and famine had hardened Irish resistance, and English rulers sought to break it by scattering the very people who opposed their rule. They called it transportation, but for thousands of Irish, it was exile. Families were torn apart, and local communities were left hollow as ship after ship carried away those branded as enemies of the British Crown. Power came from the top: monarchs, Parliament, even Oliver Cromwell himself. After his bloody campaigns in Ireland, ships left ports like Cork, heavy with captives, rebels, prisoners, and those simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Cromwell's forces had burned towns and seized land, leaving a population easier to deport than to govern. In his mind, it was like throwing out the garbage. Before sailing, people were held in grim places such as Spike Island, which was a large fort and prison facility where people waited for ships bound for Virginia and Maryland. Overcrowded prison cells, disease, and hunger prepared them for months of misery at sea. Their crime, sometimes rebellion, sometimes poverty, sometimes nothing at all. Once they reached the colonies, they were sold as indentured servants. Contracts lasted anywhere from 4 to 14 years. Plantation fields, shipyards, and kitchens became their world. The Irish were mixed among African slaves and convicts, forming grim ranks of forced labor that helped build the wealth of the New World. In a country still finding its identity, these Irish laborers were among the invisible builders, tilling soil, raising towns, and laying foundations for what would become America. Their sweat mingled with the red clay of the South and the dirt of the mid-Atlantic shorelines. By the early 1700s, a new law, the Transportation Act, passed by the British Parliament that made exile official. Ship after ship carried convicts across the ocean, roughly 52,000 in that century alone. It turned deportation into policy and human suffering into commerce. When America broke from Britain in 1776, the system collapsed, but by then the Irish had already left their mark. English courts looked elsewhere for other dumping grounds for the people they didn't want to deal with. Their next obvious place for the British to relocate more unwanted Irish became Australia. Where did this trail of discovery take us? Many of those Irish, once labeled as criminals or traitors, later became respected settlers and even leaders in the new colonies. Their descendants would go on to fight for independence, build cities, and serve in America's earliest institutions, giving us a strong reminder that the persecuted and demoralized can become free and empowered. Thanks so much for watching. If you are Irish, your roots are from Ireland, or would like to be among the honorary Irish, you're at the right place. Please take a moment to like, subscribe, click on the notification bell, or even leave me a comment. Until next time, keep that Irish twinkle in your eye.